silly.
Hello, there are actually some good things that can happen from being in these relationships, believe it or not. And I was going to think of 5 ways or 6 ways or 7, but I just want to relax and talk about it. And one of the things that I know that I never would have done if not in this relationship is work so hard on myself. I mean, oh my. I mean, you learn so many things. You become like a psychologist because you're constantly trying to figure it out and figure out why they are the way they are. You look up different terms and disorders and personality issues. Writing the book, my first book, Lonely in Love, I found out I was dyslexic. It was a game changer. I cried for a day and then I thought, oh my gosh, that cleared up some things. My directional skills, and I'm doing DoorDash for delivery, and I was watching a friend of mine. We were doing it together and I was driving with her, and she could just so easily find the addresses and so easily know where she was going. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so hard for me. So I found out I was dyslexic through this relationship. I found out so much more about myself. But you don't realize your strength until you go through a relationship like this. Amen. Do I get an amen, sister? You don't. You don't realize how strong you are until you're in a relationship like this. And, you know, it makes you or breaks you, honestly. I know that tragically a lot of women really, it actually can make you crazy. It can make you suffer so much CPTSD from walking on eggshells. And, you know, the way how they talk about for people in narcissistic relationship or people in abusive relationships or people in these types of relationships where you can't be yourself. You can't just sit down and relax with your person, watch a movie. You don't do the normal things. That's why it's Cassandra syndrome, because nobody believes what it's like, that it actually occurs, because we don't think it would ever occur. We don't think that anything like this would exist. And it does. It exists. And, you know, I try not to talk too much about my struggles because I want this to be more positive and helpful to others. I'm tired of trying to survive. I just want to be who I am, and from my experiences be as helpful as I can be. My face is puffed up, it's red. I have very swollen eyes, everything itches. Like I just want to scratch my face off. And it started when he opens up the house, the fan, and it's not from the air coming in. It's not allergens from the outside. It's the house dust that gets whipped up and goes. It's a very old home. When I lived another state away, very dry state, my allergies were gone. This eye puffiness was gone. And this is from something in the house. I think there's mold in the house. It's a really old house, and drives me crazy because all I want to do now is just leave. I just want to leave. I want to feel better. You want to feel better, you know? You don't want to be sick. And I got stuff I want to do. I want to do my YouTube. I want to do DoorDash. I mean, it's fun. It's actually profitable where I am. It can get me that extra money, just that little bit I need to feel more independent. And my goal is to get a small house just in the desert somewhere. I'm looking at Henderson, I'm looking at Arizona. I love the heat. I love the dry heat when most people don't. I loved living in a house. I don't talk about it much because it's really difficult. It was my dream to just be away from him. So what did I learn there? You know, I learned something that is very humbling about myself, is that I do like chaos. I did have a loving mom and dad. I had a very chaotic family around me, even though I was an only child. And my parents were different. They had me much older. So I just realized that I'm used to chaos. And so I go to that beautiful home and I couldn't really find my tribe. I couldn't find people to relate to there. So I was very lonely, but I got where I didn't have any chaos around me. It was too comfortable. And I felt so, hold on. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was an order or not. If you miss an order on DoorDash, it goes negative against you. And I also do Uber Eats, and it doesn't go negative, but hopefully I didn't miss an order. I don't think I did. I don't know what that was. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, it's a sensitive subject, but I couldn't find my community there, and I just felt it was the sound of silence, you know. It was too calm. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have that chaos of living with him that I was so used to. It took 6 months. I had so much healing to do from taking care of my parents for 10 years. I lost everything before I met this guy. And just to heal from the last 20 years, it was daunting. It was hard to be alone. And you know, I went to a Buddhist monastery for 3 months. I lived there. I wanted to be a Buddhist nun. I was escaping the world. It wasn't the right reason to become a Buddhist nun. And I remember someone there, it was a Dharma teacher. I'm arguing with a Dharma teacher, which is not, but I was like, it's not good to be alone. She said, no, it's good. You stay alone, you be with yourself. Like the Buddha went out and he was alone and could find enlightenment. And I thought, I've been alone so much, but it's how you are when you're alone that counts. Duh. Being happy with yourself. So you know what? I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't start to heal and get away from the situation. And also if I didn't meet my guy, I would have still been kind of just in this okay world, maybe with somebody else. Never learned that about myself. Maybe always chased chaos, or always didn't understand that I was so used to trauma. And now I've come to the point where I still, you know, I talk on the YouTube when I feel like I'm alone again, I'm alone, but I find myself much more comfortable in my skin. So that's one thing I learned from being with him that I don't know if I would have learned, because it is a deep one. It's intense. I have left a lot of my toxic family where they could never get out of their toxic behavior or understand who they are. They're just in this comfortable, dysfunctional bubble. And I'm glad to be out of that. It's harder. And right now I'm struggling just because I know what I'm worth. I know what I want, and it's right there, but I have to have the patience to just wait. And when you don't feel good and you know it's from your environment, but no, it's okay. I still have this peace inside of me. So when you're in chaos, and you can still feel peace, you've got it going on. I'm wondering if where you're at, give a like and a comment. I would love to hear from you. It feels like, hey sister, you know, let's talk. And I am doing a Zoom call on the 9th. My birthday's next week. So I thought I'll do it on the 9th. My birthday's the 11th, and I'm always alone on my birthday. And this year it's okay that I'm alone. I would like to have a Zoom call and just get to meet you if you've been listening to me. I'm begging because it's been so hard to do so many videos and not have any comments. Again, the good thing about being in a relationship like this is you learn about yourself. I mean, that's number one. That's the biggest part. And there's little opportunities. And you know, so many of us feel like they ruined our lives, and I feel that way many times. I feel like maybe I would have a child if I wouldn't have met him. I mean, I just think, but to go to those places in your mind hurts you more, and to just stop yourself and say, what do I have right now is so important. And gosh, I have my 2 dogs. I have the opportunity that I can get a house on my own. And it would be with his help, but it's under an agreement. It's this whole big, long story. But, you know, I'm very, very financially dependent on this man. It's frustrating. but I do have a lot of things positive going in my life. And if you can just sit back, if you're struggling right now, happen to be listening to me, and you just feel like there's just nothing, just really for your own body, to just look at all the good you have. And I know the gratitude thing, it does work. Hey, quick interruption here. I just did my last delivery for Uber Eats. I was doing Uber Eats. And I remember I was telling you about my eyes and how much they're really bothering me. I'm just going to stop because they really hurt. My last delivery was to a man who was blind, and his significant other, the person living with him, was also blind. And I get choked up. We're this touchless world now. And I had to guide his hand in order to get the meal. And it was stacked up. It was wobbly. And then I had to touch his shoulder and show him where the other part of the food was. And, I was talking about being grateful, and so grateful I can see. Yes, you have to acknowledge your pain and is very, very important. And you're worthy of everything beautiful in your life. But in that very moment, when you feel all at lost, to be grateful for what you have. And right now I'm grateful to see, and yes, it hurts and it's itchy, but just seeing that beautiful person, and he couldn't see, and his partner couldn't see, and I think how different their world is. And his hands were so soft. I'll never forget it. Just so gentle. Yummy. All right, you two, time to relax after a long day. Sweet kiddos.